Evening, guys. How we doing? Everybody have had a good day. Hope your week's off to a good start. Thanks for stopping by. Just unplug myself from that. Yeah, how's everybody doing? Everybody having a good one? Hey Sam, how you doing, mate? Ian, how you doing? Glad you can make it this time, buddy. Hey Alex, how you doing? Almost more in here. Guess you are in Europe. I am in Europe. Yeah. I'm in England. Yeah. So it is. What is it? It is 7 o'clock here in the UK. Yeah. How you doing, Alex? I'm feeling rough, Sam. I've been feverish, but all good though, mate. All good. How are you doing? Those of you that don't know, Sam is a Master of Light for Rotalight with myself as well. So Sam has been fighting the good fight there with LEDs far longer than I have. So if you haven't seen Sam's work, go and check it out. He's a master street photographer with the LEDs. So go and say hi and check out the magic that he's creating over there. Just gonna get this sorted. I think we're good. Yeah. Let's turn that off. All good. Oh, Vlad, yeah, thank you. Do you know what? Yeah, my brain has not been with it, Vlad. Yeah, I did mention I was going to sort you out some knowledge on the V-flats, which I will certainly do. Let's have a look. Let's see what we got here. I am. Yeah. So you're feeling rough as well, Dave. Yeah, I am. Yeah, not quite with it, but we will muddle through here tonight. It's one of those things where I was yesterday, sort of woke up in fever dream, and I was like, right, I'm gonna have to just lie down for the day. And then I kind of got to the end of the day, and I said, oh, okay, it's not, I'm not feeling too bad. I'll do a stream tomorrow, all be good. And then woke up today, lay down all day, and I was like, oh yeah, it's not too bad, it's all good. And then got up to do the stream, and I was like, whoa, Jesus. But anyway, it will be good. Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better soon, mate. Yeah, it's can be a bit rough sometimes. Get caught out burning the candle at both ends, as it were. Changing the seasons always seems to be a pressure point for me as well for some reason. Don't know why. But yeah, let's so Vlad, let's have a look. We got some things to cover, but yeah, V-flats is definitely one of them. Let's be having a look here. In fact, yeah, I had some questions actually, so let's go over some of those before we get started. So those of you that are new here, I don't know if we do have anybody new, but shout out if you are. Yeah, if you haven't been to tuned into one of these streams before, then yeah, just do these every couple of weeks. Just go through, check out your work, give some feedback if needed, and yeah, just chat about what's going on, some techniques, nerd out, that sort of stuff. Nothing crazy. Do it every couple of weeks, and then every other week on Monday I do a share issue. So basically I post an image on the Monday, and are you gonna find this for me? Website? Yeah. So every Monday do a share issue, get you guys to submit some images, and then I just give some written feedback if that's what you guys are after. And every couple of weeks I do an actual live stream like this. This website not going to find it. There we go. Here we go. Yeah. Hey Kramer, how you doing? Daughter started work in a primary school, so brings home all. Yeah. Well, congrats to her for getting a job in the primary school. What age is she teaching? Working with young kids, eh? Yeah, that is that's a calling, isn't it? That's not something that you. I mean, I guess it's something you aspire to. Jesus, yeah, fair play. Yeah, fair play to her. So Vlad, yeah, V flats. So this is the this is the article, and let me just pop a link in chat for you. Yeah, my bad for getting this until now, but yeah, the V-flats that I've been referencing and chatting about in recent streams, and I use these in, so I made these, when was this? Middle of last year. So I made these the middle of last year, and I practically used them in every single shoot since then. But yeah, the premise is that just these squares here of I mean, you can make these out of foam board, foam core, whatever you want to call it, and then you just basically string them together with gaffer tape, which is what I did. And yes, I think mine are, there you go, that's the size of mine. Yeah, so I kind of trimmed mine down just a tiny bit to use at home, just because the like AA1 or whatever it is, or A0, yeah, A0 was just too high. But when they're folded up, like these just go behind the door quite comfortably. So yeah, and then it seems fairly straightforward. It's just that when you want to sort of have them double-sided and folded like this, we have to use this kind of weave fold with gaffer tape, which now Dave in chat made his own ones from this. Hey Nubif, how you doing? Miriam, how you doing? I think Dave, it was you, Dave, right? You made your own one of these from this article, and I think Dave got it right first try. With this weave fold, I actually got it wrong a couple of times, so I actually ended up making this kind of mini one, to like this sort of mini version, to kind of see exactly how it works and make sure that when it opened up it did have both white sides and both dark sides and that sort of stuff. So I would recommend just doing a practice one with like a couple of sheets first, because the weave fold seems really straightforward. It's just when you're trying to put it all together, because you got multiple weave folds. Yeah, but 100 quid's worth of foam board or whatever it is, and yeah, good to go. Mine are in sections like this just because it was actually cheaper to buy smaller whiteboards than it was large whiteboards, but you can just buy multiples of the same color and the full size that you want. But yeah, it took me a couple of afternoons once I'd screwed up once or twice, and yeah, all good. And as Dave says, yeah, I got them a bit big to start with, so trim them a little. 2 meters by 2 meters is, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I mean, I did exactly the same, Dave. Mine was too tall to kind of use at home, which is where I was kind of using them in like a home studio, not in the studio. So yeah, so I kind of knocked them down a little bit so that they were easy to sort of put up in a European home, as it were. Obviously going to completely depend on the size of your ceilings though. Yeah. Steve says, however long you think it'll take you to make the V-flats, treble it and send the family out. You don't want them to see what this little job will turn you into. See, yeah, I'm glad you found this as well, Dave, because I mean I kind of explained everything that I went through here, but yeah, I certainly screwed up the weave fold once or twice. Yeah, so I was glad that I made some. How much was the total of all this? I think it really depends on the deal that you're going to get on the actual boards themselves. I wouldn't go any thinner than that, so like 5mm, because it's going to be, it's going to be doubled up because you want black and white, so it's going to be 10mm. So I wouldn't go any. You can save a little bit of money and go thinner, but I wouldn't do it because they won't sort of stand their own weight, as it were. So yeah, 150 quid. Which is about, if you were to buy them, I think they're about 300. I think you can get them ready-made. People selling them for like 300 quid. So doing it yourself is gonna save you a little bit for sure. Yeah. It's funny. I'm so pleased you said that, Dave. Yeah, because it definitely took longer than I thought it was going to be. Oh yeah, a bit of gaffer tape, put these together, a couple of hours, have that done. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's the technique. Check it out. I'm so making this as soon as I get done with this horrible snowstorm we have now. Oh right, so where are you based, Vlad? Because where are you? But yeah, hopefully you'll be able to get the foam core or whatever it's called in different like foam core, foam boards, whatever you want to call them. But hopefully you'll be able to get it. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty fortunate here in the UK where I could just get it shipped to me. Just because it would be a pain in the ass going out and buying these massive boards and trying to transport them home. So fairly straightforward from that regard. But yeah, sorry to hear you having the mess with the snow, man. Yeah, I've heard some. I mean, I know a couple of friends in the US over there are being absolutely torn to pieces at the moment with storms and all sorts. It's crazy. I mean, we just got more drizzle here. Just another day. I had another question earlier on, which I need to respond to on Instagram, but it was about the gobos, like how to make gobos and that sort of thing. It was from Paul, I think it was, on Instagram. I was asking about this recently. I need to respond to him, but I just thought I'd mention it again, just because it has come up a couple of times about gobos. I use this optical snoot, which saves a ton of money because you basically just attach you attach this to the front of your strobe, right? This is the unit. Like to buy the like this full job. I mean, I see a lot of people using these. I mean, these are incredible, but they cost a lot of money because they're just a standalone piece of kit with their own bulb and housing and all that sort of stuff as well. So these are very affordable ways to get the gobos. So I was a little bit more expensive than I thought it was. Actually, I thought it was about 100 quid, but maybe it's a little bit more. But yeah, still, just buying this unit by itself is going to save you a ton of money when it comes to actually attaching it to the strobe that you already have. I think you can even use them with speed lights. Wouldn't really recommend that, but you certainly can do. But yeah, again, you can just attach your own gobos and stuff in there. So the optical snoot, definitely the way to go if you wanted to experiment with this sort of thing. So just pop that in chat as well. Put that in there. I'm in Romania. Oh, you're in Romania, Vlad. Okay. I'm in Romania, so I'm in Romania. The weather is trash right now, and hopefully you'll get to manage to find the name of the phone board in local language. Yeah, that's it, Vlad. Yeah, they are different. Yeah, they're called something. Yeah, like it's like thick cardboard, and in between it is foam. Yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Have a look at the article, and you should be able to get a rough idea of, like, some of the close-up pictures. You can see it kind of looks different to just thick cardboard, as it were. But yeah. Hope you hope the weather improves soon, man. Yeah. Dave says also double check the white for clear masking, finding out that you have taped that masking is still on there, guaranteed to lose you some hair. Yeah. Oh man, it's just. I'm so glad you are saying that, Dave. Yeah, because I was like, I must be an idiot for not being able to do this. Shouldn't be difficult, Jake. Yeah. So I'm so glad you. I mean, obviously it's disappointing that you struggled, Dave, but I feel your pain. I'm lucky enough to work for a company that supplies this stuff by the sheets. It got a cost. Oh, nice, Dave. Nice. Okay. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah. Because I know the images that you shared. It looked like you did a pucker job, actually. Yeah. Because you shared it, last week? I think you shared the images last week you had. What was it? Share a shoot last week? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't last week. Maybe I'm just losing. Maybe it's not. You have to. I just can't keep up with the way that Facebook changes what you're allowed to post, what you're not allowed to post, and the way it hides certain things, doesn't hide certain things. I also get caught out on sharing stuff on Instagram that is then banned on Facebook, and all sorts. I must be a bit blind. Oh, is it in here? No, I don't know where it is. Yeah. Maybe it was a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, or was it in the actual Technique Tuesday? Anyway, I'll have a look. I'll find it. But yeah, the ones that you showed. I think here we go. Yeah. The ones that you showed looking good, man. Yeah, looking good. I remember doing it in the kitchen as well for some reason. Yeah, look, this is nice, mate. Look at that, it's clean. Look at that. Whew. Good stuff. Love to see it. This is the results here. Yeah, yours looking crisp. Yeah, you've done a good job there. I know you're bald now, but looks like it was worth it, man. Yeah, these looking good. Yeah, looking good. Yeah. Florian says, can you use a gobo just on LED, or do they work on flashes too? So that is a great question, Florian. The where was that? Here, yeah. So you can use this optical snoot on whatever you want, as long as it actually has an attachment for it. So I think that, let me just see if I can find. Let me just see. So here we go. Yeah. So speed ring fitting. So here it can basically come with the different types here, right? So it has the different speed ring attachments. And you're like, well, okay, so your question is about LEDs, right? So the LED that I've used it on is the Godox SZ150R or something. Let me just SZ150R. Oh my god, I actually did it. So this is an LED light. Okay, so to your point, it's just an LED head, but it has the S-fit attachment. Okay, so that's basically the only thing you need to look at. Yeah. I think I've got it here. I've had this thing for like a year now, nearly a year, and it's been sat behind me, and the entire time I've been like, oh yeah, I need to put that away. So yeah, so as long as it's just got the S-fit attachment, you can use that gobo or that optical snoot on whatever you want. I might have the optical snoot up there. Any excuse to play with gear, isn't it, really? Let's have a look. Yeah, so the S-fit and then just the optical snoot, right? So I've got my own lens on there. It's like a 50mm. I got on eBay for like 30 quid or something. And then that's it, like that. Okay, and then you're good to go. So, in answer to your question, can it work in LEDs? Yes, it can, as long as you have an LED light that has a housing like that. You can't put it on like the Rotolight Neo or something like that, yeah, because it doesn't have an attachment. Because you want all the light to go into this housing here and then out of the lens there. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Right, let me put this down. I'll get back to those. Right, let's have a look. Dave says, 4 gobo set with the Lencarte will knock you back 675 a minute. Thank you, Dave. That is interesting. Yeah, okay. I didn't know actually off the top of my head. I thought it was about 500 quid, but yeah, if you're saying like and the actual gobos themselves, 675. Yeah, no, I could definitely see that. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, the other benefit of just buying the optical snoot like that is that you're not having to have an additional light that you may not that only has one job, right? That the actual gobo housing and that sort of thing. At least with this, you can just carry the snoot, which weighs next to nothing because there's nothing inside it, and use it on whatever lamp you want. I know, but yeah, I will go through yours. Yeah. So that says, yeah, found it ain't cheap here, but even found the ones that have adhesive on one side. Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, that would make your life a lot easier, Vlad. Yeah, because one of the biggest things was, having to do it outside with the spray glue. We're now talking about the V flats again. Yeah, that was one of the things that I had to wait for it was to dry outside and then glue them together and that sort of thing. So that was time consuming. So if you've got ones that have adhesive on one side, that would save you a ton of time. Yeah. So Florian talking about the gobo again. He's a 3D printed one with Bowen's fitting, and on the flash it didn't work as well as on the LED. It didn't work as well on the LED. That's okay. Well, no, that's good then. The only thing that would change is the way that the light is being emitted. But if you manage to 3D print one, Florian, yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what that looks like. Actually, I mean, if you've got images, I'd be interested to see how that came out. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really cool. How does the 150 LED compare to a good projector for brightness? The issue with the optical snoot, and this is good. I mean, I've used this on tons of shoots where I'm using the rotor lights, and then I wanted this, for one hard light, for example, and it's been bright, but compared to a projector, it's doing something different, isn't it? So I would say that when you put a gobo on this, you lose a fair bit of power, because what's happening is that all that light is going into that housing, and then it has to go through that lens as well, which is taking away some of the power. You've got a bunch of glass there, so you are losing power. So if you're saying, should I stick to the projector, or get one of these and a gobo, the only downside of using a projector is going to be the pixels, right? So if you don't want the pixels and you're finding that you do have the pixels, then this is going to be the next best thing. If you're happy with the projector you've got, and you've got a decent one and it's not projecting any pixels or anything like that, I would just stick with that. I would say that it's going to be more versatile, especially seeing as you can have any image, any photo, any texture, any print pattern, all those things. You can have whatever you want with a projector, whereas with gobos you are very restricted to just basically black and white, just a hole in a disc. Granted, you can have tree patterns and stars and that sort of thing, but it's still limited as to the sort of shapes you can get. Yeah, so projector is probably going to be more versatile. It's just a lot more expensive if you don't have one already, right? Right, I think that was that what I was going to cover? Is there anything else? Oh yeah, you guys, I'm guessing a lot of you saw this article last week. Did you guys have a read? What do you guys think? Any of you own LED tubes? I know there's a few of you already. I know a number of you are using the Pavo tubes. Is that right? I know a couple of people posted images using the Nanlight, something like that, Nanlights is something else. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I know a few of you have used tubes. But yeah, have any of you practiced with this type of thing before, using these tubes in shot like this? Anybody thinking of going to play with it? I got to admit, right, I was really impressed with these. Really impressed. Now these are only like 50 quid or something, like these tubes. So you know, which is, I know it might seem a lot to some of you, but you can literally pay 10 times that for a tube. So yeah, do any of you, what do you guys think to this setup? You think it's something that you might want to play with in the future? I know, Dave, you thinking about making your own tubes, or you have made your own tubes in the past, right? So you've bought the housing. I think you mentioned it to me a while ago now, but you were like, you know, here's the code to actually print, or the code to actually make your own LEDs in a tube. So I mean, totally viable to be able to do that. This was shot ISO 400, so you know, okay, not particularly. These tubes aren't particularly bright. They're certainly nowhere near as bright as the ones that like Anubis is using, right? I don't actually know how bright they are. Anubis, are you still in chat? What sort of camera settings are you shooting your tubes at? Are they at full power when you shoot? Oh, Anubis made his own as well at some point. That's right. I remember you saying that, Anubis. Yeah, you said you started out with your own tubes, and then they reached out to you and was like, look, check out our tubes, see what you think. Yeah. Yeah, let's have a look. Of course, it's not like me to get distracted. Let's see, because Anubis posted a shot here, right? Let's have a look. Yeah, we got Jakob here is shooting with 3 nanlite tubes. So, Anubis, to your knowledge, I know you don't know for sure, but is that what you're using? Is that nanlite make the whatever you're using? My brain's gone. I apologize. So okay, so you think that he could be using the same thing as you then? Yeah, because this is what Anubis using here with the tubes. Is that what it's called then, Dave? You say definitely going to revisit the addressable RGB LEDs to make some of the tubes. So addressable meaning you can actually program what the LEDs are doing. Is that what it's called? Addressable. And it says, yeah, I have the nanlights and also made my own with the plastic tubes and LED strips inside. Yeah. See, I looked at it. I really did look at it, and then Dave sent me schematics for the code and the soldering, and I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna ask Essential Photo if they wouldn't mind lending me some. just yeah, super lazy, but I know it's you know, for those of you with more than three brain cells like me, it's fairly obvious. So Nick says, hey, you doing, by the way, Nick? Yeah, late to the show, but I got the Pixar Pro SA17 projector for continuous lighting. Let's have a look at that then. SA17. So what is the? What is it? Has it got an actual name? Like the actual? Oh, was it there? Or is that it there? Okay, I think that could be it. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Interesting. So I don't know what the difference on that is. So what is that then? That's S-Fit as well. What's the difference then? To mount the so is it providing you've already got this section, as it were? Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. I have to have a look. I've not actually used that. I've not even seen it before, actually. It's got a juicy lens on that one. Okay. Interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. Nick, yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, I'll have to have a look. I wasn't aware of that, yeah. As far as the front part is a lens, yeah, so this Yeah, so I guess this is the like the housing that goes on the S-fit, and then this is the actual bit that attaches to that, right? And then you've got some adjustments here. So that's the lens. Whereas mine, you actually have to buy your own lens. Yeah, use your own, Nikon, Sony, whatever, Canon 50mm lens or whatever to put on the front. Whereas this has actually got like a purpose-built lens. And the one that I originally had from Bowen's like 10 years ago, that had its own lens on the front, which actually looked very similar to this, where it was like an actual lens on the front. That lets through a lot more light because you're not using a camera lens, ironically, but yeah, still. Yeah. Let's see. Dave's never used them in the past for model illumination. Dave's talking about the LED tubes. Used them to make images in the air during long exposure shots. Okay, yeah. So actually using the tubes to create light streaks. I haven't actually tried long exposure with those tubes, and the reason I'm sounding intrigued is because I know that LEDs pulse. So I wonder what those ones that I've got, like the pulse, would be like. I wonder if it's like where you would really see it in the in the long exposure. So Anubhav came back with some details of the brightness of his. He's saying he's normally at about 60-70% power, and the camera settings between f1.4 to 2.8, default ISO 400, and shutter speed depending on overall. Roughly though, Anubhav, what shutter speeds are you working at? Are you working at very fast shutter speeds, or are you because I work at, like, for mine, I work at 125th shutter speeds for mine. Yeah, this is 125th, I think, for me. Where's the camera settings on these? I don't think it was anything crazy. So 125th, yeah. F2 ISO 400, yeah. So unless you're going to type something crazy in terms of shutter speed, they're not as bright as I thought they were going to be. The adapter bond, yeah, thank you, Nick. Yeah. Dave says, yeah, you could put the code in the little Raspberry Pi. That's right. I remember you telling me that. Yeah. So again, Dave's talking about actually like the code for the LED tubes, and you can either control the color or actually get it to flash a sequence that leaves behind an image when shooting long exposure. That's right. Yeah, the old pixel sticks. Yeah, that was all the rage for a bit, and it died super quick. What Dave's talking about there is you could have the shutter open for, you would shoot this at night, for example. You'd have the shutter on the camera. You'd have the camera on a tripod. You'd have the shutter open for several seconds, and then you would move the tube across the background, and what you would do is you'd program that tube to change its LED makeup, so that as you moved it left to right, for example, it would make an image. I never played with them myself, but yeah, I know that was kind of popped off for a little bit a while ago now. Yeah. As yesterday, I rewired my Google Home Mini to a speaker that is as big as a PC case. Don't be afraid of soldering. Right? Okay. Yeah. So you guys are just flexing now. And I respect it, but like gaffer tape is as complicated as I get. Yeah. Nick says it's continuous and can do flash up to 200 watts. Oh, okay, really? Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah. Anubhav says my homemade tubes were simple, the plastic diffused tube and then laser strip inside. Nice. Yeah. And that's what I looked at. Like the housing and that sort of thing. Definitely doable. Somewhere on the web there is a photo one from Pixel. Yeah, nice. So yeah, Vlad's saying he was playing with the actual Pixel stick style. Yeah. Dave says, no, that just the light streaks, actual images in the air. Have a photo of the Hulk stood behind my car, rendered by waving the LED signal, resulting in trail screen image. Fair play if you're managing to do. Fair play if you're managing to make images on your LED sticks using programming yourself. Like, hats off to you, mate. Yeah, hats off to you. So we were just clarifying the shutter speed that he's using around about 100th. So they like those tubes aren't as bright as I thought you were going to say, Anubhav. I thought you were going to say that they were a lot brighter. I know, granted, you're saying. I mean, I'm using mine at 100% power here, and and you're using yours at like 60% power, so still you maybe got an extra stop. I thought they were a lot brighter. Big Stick died as the company behind it had no interest in providing the original product. The DIY sticks quickly surpassed the Pixel Sticks in terms of capability. Look, the final image. Really, Dave? Okay, because I knew that it was something. It was like Kickstarter, right? Back in the day. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm going back years now, but yeah, it was Kickstarter. I know there was a lot of buzz around it. Yeah, I thought it was clever. I was trying to think of what the next step would be for it, because like it was cool. It was a clever idea. But it was a little bit quirky. I couldn't see how I could kind of refine it into more of a professional look. And don't get me wrong, I again, I'm not poo-pooing anybody that went down that route and that sort of thing. But yeah, I couldn't see how I could develop it from being quirky. And again, nothing wrong with having like the Hulk behind your car and all that sort of stuff. At night, I totally get that. But I was trying to think how I could do something, how I could take it one step further, and I never really could, and that's where I kind of went to projectors for that sort of thing. Light painting was what got me into photography about 7 years ago, messing around with a 10-second exposure on my phone. Interesting. Like, yeah, long exposure stuff is like it gets a lot of buzz. Whenever I post long exposure images, they get a lot of buzz. When it comes to people kind of wanting to do it themselves, so they kind of shy away from it. It's kind of interesting. Like if I post a long exposure image, it does really well. But it's probably in terms of education, like in terms of me selling education, it probably does the worst in terms of people wanting to learn it. It's kind of a weird one for me. It doesn't really make any sense, Like the cinematic stuff that I do does okay, but it's like one of the most popular courses that I do online, for example. It's weird. It's because I shot f2, is why I went that down. Okay, yeah. For me as well, it was like I think people think, shoot wide open just because it's LEDs. It's like, no, I wanted the shallow depth of field here. This is at f2, but I wanted that sort of shallow depth of field. In fact, I haven't shared these yet. Let me just see if I can grab them. Oh shit, I can't. They're actually on a drive, so I can't share them. But I did some. If you guys remind me next time, I did some with tilt shift lens. So I did some shots with this with a tilt shift lens. Actually, really cool. Yeah, it's a really cool effect, because you have all these sort of highlights, like these very bright highlights, especially with the jacket and stuff as well, and shifting the focal plane so that she was in focus. But all this stuff, like all the bokeh and stuff from the highlights and the tubes, was really blown out with the tilt shift. Actually looks pretty legit in terms of, when I say legit, I mean it didn't look like ridiculous. Like, why has he just got some sort of Toy Town image? It actually looked really cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think I've got them on a drive somewhere. But yeah. I can't really plug it in without losing everything, like the camera and the microphone, everything's plugged in. Yeah. This is one of my most popular shots, as a woman stood in a church with the whole church in flames around her, done during a 1-minute exposure with a torch. And no way, man. Fair play, Dave. Yeah, fair play. That's the other thing with long exposure as well, is that I think you end up crafting the image a lot more, and you're after this like one sort of masterpiece image. That's one thing that I noticed as well. You have this vision in mind, as opposed to like in the studio, you just, I'll shoot 300 images and I'll grab a couple, and I'll just grab 2 or 3 that I like. The long exposure ones like that, especially with light painting, is you have this idea, and like everything is put into making this sort of like one image and getting that one image right. Even if you have to repeat it, again and again and again, you're after this one idea in mind, which is what I do kind of like that about long exposure as well. Yeah. Actually, thinking about it, did I share an image? yeah, one of these. So this is actually tilt shift. This is really bad quality on the phone here, but this is tilt shift, right? So because that's her hand on her shoulder there. So you can kind of see what I mean about it. It looks legit in that you don't immediately go, that looks ridiculous, but we're starting to see some of this really cool distortion effect here. Yeah, kind of doing it here as well. So you're kind of forcing that depth of field, so it looks like really shallow depth of field, but it's actually a tilt shift lens. I'm sure that's tilt shift. Yeah. So even though, because this is just her arm and shoulder, and it looks really out of focus, right? So it wouldn't be that out of focus, even if it was shooting at f1.4, it wouldn't be that out of focus. But I'm forcing it with a tilt shift. It's actually a really, really cool effect. Yeah. Right. So what was that? Was going to show anything else? So yeah, DP review closing. Like, what the hell? Obviously you guys heard about that. I mean, it was all over those of you that have been, shooting for any length of time. DP review closing its doors next week, which is nuts to me. Like, I honestly thought it was an April Fool's when I saw it. I was like, well, that can't be real. Like, anybody who's been shooting for more than 5 minutes knows of DP review. Not only do they, like, this is not just some trashy news site. This is not like, I won't name names, but this is not a trashy news site. It's just, oh yeah, check out this latest no nonsense, whatever it is, startup. It's not just posting crap. Like, this does super detailed reviews, and was like the go-to place for many of us when it came to legitimate, unbiased opinions on products. And I don't know how long it's been going, but after 25 years, look, yeah. So I didn't see that, Dave. Yeah, I'll come back to that in a second. Yeah. So this is nuts. Yeah, and I mean, Amazon is closing the doors on this. I mean, I don't know how many billions of dollars they make every year, but like, they're not going to keep this open, or they're closing this down. Does anybody know the details, or a link to the details as to like the reasons behind this, or it was just like, yeah, it's not making 10 million a year, so we're just going to close it down. That's just crazy to me. I mean, it is like a photographic encyclopedia of data. I mean, this is equivalent of burning the books, years ago. I mean, it'd be hell up. But I guess now, we kind of think of the internet as forever. It's just, it's just not. Do you think that somebody's going to take this on and like download DP review so that it will? I mean, there is so much content there in terms of data on products. It's crazy to me, absolutely crazy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fuck Amazon, in all honesty. Yeah, I'm gonna. I mean, I kind of do it already, but I'm doing my absolute best in my articles and that sort of thing to point people to anywhere but Amazon. In all honesty, it's even if I got to point them to some no-name product on eBay, look, if people want to use Amazon, they can do, but this is just bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. So yeah, kind of a dick move for sure. If anybody knows any more information on this and have got any links to the reasons behind this, then by all means let me know. Kind of interested in that. Yeah. So Dave says all DB review content is going to be deleted on the closing, so nothing to take over. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Years ago, this is tantamount to burning the books. Like that is, you are literally deleting just huge swaths of information, unbiased information that I mean, somebody give me an example of the next best thing that is close to DP review that you think is fairly unbiased. Now this is the downside, right? Because it's unbiased, that means it's not being backed and funded by all that. So I guess that's the issue, right? Kind of a shit move. Miriam says, yeah, honestly, they have too much power and they're everywhere. I mean, it's scary. I know, I agree with you, Miriam. Yeah, I agree with you. And look, I'm not going to get into it here, but I completely agree with that. I also think that the amount of so we talk about AI and stuff on here, and a lot of the AI work that is being done is being processed in the cloud, as it were. Right now, what that requires is a huge amount of GPU and server storage, and just tons and tons of power. There's not many like AI work that is done on your home station, right? It's not. It's all done in the cloud externally, like Midjourney. All these sorts of things are all done, like processed in the power, and all this is done on servers. And these servers, most of these servers are owned by Google and Amazon, and they make unfathomable amounts of money. To give you one example, like last year, I think in a 10-day period, one small AI app was billed by one of these large companies $12 million in 10 days on GPU usage. Yeah, like it's. So I will say that again. This is a small AI app. This is not Midjourney or a massive player like that. This is a small AI app that was billed by one of these large companies $12 million in GPU usage in 10 days. Like, that is, like, these AI, especially since everybody's using AI at the moment, like, there's a huge amount of processing that's going on in the clouds, and these guys are owning the servers. To your point about Amazon, it's just being massive. Like, Amazon own tons of these servers. These, like, Google and Amazon are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So to hear them making all this money and then just close this down, don't know, just rubs me the wrong way for sure. Yeah. So Dave says, no mention of Midjourney having to close down free membership. Has the monster gotten too big too fast? Is that right then, Dave? So I haven't heard that, Midjourney closing down free. I wasn't aware that was happening. Are you asking if that is the case, or you heard that is the case? As Aaron says, what light tubes did you use for the tilt shift shops? Were they paper tubes? Sorry to let me. Hey, no worries, Aaron. Yeah, no, the article here. This was the. I will certainly post this, because these were very cheap tubes. These were these were just 50 quid tubes from Pixapro here in the UK. And I mean, look, Anubhav and others in here use some very high quality tubes, like the Pavo tubes, and I was just kind of interested as to what these little cheap ones would do. And let's see, so these are the ones that. So these are 50 quid, and for a similar sort of thing, then like Pavo tubes, are like 500 quid. Now, granted, you get bits and pieces, and you get a lot more in terms of color control and consistency. And so, don't get me wrong, I'm not poo-pooing the Nan lights at all. Obviously, an incredible light. It's just that for me, I don't use them that often. So it's just like, okay, I just want something that I'm going to use occasionally. Boom, 50 quid for a tube. Job done. If you're only going to use these, I know like Anubhav uses them, for practically everything that he does. For example, then it makes sense to have tubes that are going to give you beautiful color, especially white light as well. So, like, the white light of these are a little bit sus, but it's 50 quid for a tube, right? No worries, Aaron. Yeah, no worries. When I get to, I just wondered if DP Review would be happy for someone to bulk archive everything and preserve the info for others. Aaron, I'm with you on that. I wonder if somebody will, or whether it's just people like you and me keep saying that, or just like, well, somebody's bound to back it up, right? Whether everybody just keeps saying that and it actually happens, I don't know. But I'm kind of with you on that. Like, surely somebody must try and, I mean, I don't know, I have no idea what sort of size that is. Like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but do you remember, like, a million years ago, Flickr was about to go under, and SmugMug bought them, I mean, I say bought them. I mean, I think they just took on the debt. But that was a big thing then. It was like, well, I mean, like so many images on Flickr back then. This is what everybody used for years, in terms of portfolio and that sort of thing. And it was just going to be right. We're just gonna turn it off. And Flickr was massive, huge, and it was just going to be dumped. But again, I was talking to one of the main guys there at SmugMug, and he was saying, look, when we send out an email to all the Flickr users, like it takes our system days and days and days to send out emails. Like it's just thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of emails going out. It like their database is so large, it just takes days and days and days to send out an email to everybody. Like when you get to that sort of scale, it's kind of like Jesus, yeah. It just becomes unwieldy, you know. There was a big fuss about the fake news, etc., with some of the hyper-realistic photos showing high-ranking officials, the Pope. I saw that Pope one, the puffer jacket, yeah, etc. In compromising situations, Midjourney is now subscription only. Really? Interesting, Dave. Interesting. I'll have a look at that. So I saw I mean, I've seen tons of images. We got, like there was ones with Boris Johnson doing, like, cleaning, just being a caretaker and that sort of stuff, right? You know, and all like other politicians just being, you know, picking up litter and all that sort of stuff. And I mean, we thought fake news was an issue and all that sort of shit years ago. I mean, it's just now, it's just you just can't trust anything. Slightly hyperbolic, but where did we get to? This kind of brought up was the fact that this photographer posting this image, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, how dare you? You know, it's fucking AI and all that sort of stuff." It's like, yeah, it's not AI. That he goes, "It's so good if it was AI." You know, it's like everybody's saying, "Oh, you know, it's, you know, people are calling out things that are real, calling it out as AI," to the point where it's like real stuff now looks more fake than the AI sometimes, right? Is this AI? You know, so it's definitely in the forefront of people's minds in terms of a trust issue, right? Dave wrote, like, I have the same issues, 5 weeks to get my master elite preset codes. That's annoying, man. Yeah, let's chalk that up to volume, right? In other AI news, this Robert guy here asked even Chat GPT to write me a Midjourney prompt. So using Chat GPT to actually write the Midjourney prompts now, I find that humorous and terrifying. I mean, you could get Chat GPT to write code for you, and you could get Chat GPT to actually check code for you. I just find it funny that now it can write prompts for you. So rather than the, you know, whatever it used to be, you used to have to give it, you know, almost like hashtags, right? So now Chat GPT, you know, can just do it for you. You just type, you just write this string of consciousness, and then Chat GPT will put it into prompts for you, to create the AI image. But this is fine, guys. This is fine. Like, we all know that's AI, right? We can all tell that's AI created by a chatbot. Yeah, we all can tell, right? I see no issue here. Just lastly on this, before we move on, you guys know Chris Knight, right? Absolute legend, master lighter, absolute genius. If you don't know Chris Knight's work, please go check it out. Outstanding. Chris and I usually have a little bit of a rant online in the messages about, you know, stuff that's going on. We were chatting about AI and bits and pieces like that. You know, and he was saying that he uses it. So this is, you know, Chris is just made this account here just to play around with AI and that sort of thing. My point being here is that I would, encourage you to do the same. If you're gonna play around and mess around with AI, do it in a separate place to your main feed, right? I see people mixing the two. I don't recommend doing that. Chris is just obviously learning, wants to be a part of it, be knowledgeable of what's possible with it, creating AI work, but he's doing it in a separate space. He's also saying that he uses it to be a little bit clever with it, with regards to, like, he did a wedding shot and like the hair looked a bit flat, and he just got Midjourney to generate flowing hair for like the model, which was actually really clever. He showed me the images. I'm not going to show you them, but my point here is that you can use AI in a clever way. He had this image, he cut out the image with the flat hair and was asked Midjourney, okay, we want billowing hair to go in here. It looks at the lighting conditions, it looks at the contrast, it matches all of that and gives you flowing hair. He did the same for the dress, like the wedding dress. It looks incredible. There's just no way you're going to know that dress is fake or the hair is fake, created by Midjourney and added to your actual photo. And I think that you can use it like that in a very clever way. So yeah, it's definitely got scope for sure for that sort of thing. Yeah. Gonna get Chat GPT to work out my dreams. That should make it weird. Yeah, good luck with that, Dave. Yeah, good luck with that. Feel free to keep those to yourself though. Yeah. This is a family friendly stream. Is there anything else I was going to talk about? I think that was everything I wanted to chat about. Yeah. So yeah, in conclusion, fuck Amazon. That's I think that's what we learned here today. Right, let's have a look at some of your images then. If anybody's got any questions on anything at all, about anything, then by all means let me know. That's what these streams are for. Just going to check we haven't got any images in here. Let's have a look at some of the shots we got here. Let's have a play with some of these. So, look, we've been talking about LED strips and tubes and that sort of stuff. So, let's start off with Anubis down here, and then we can move on. But he shared this video. Your model has got to be questioning your sanity at this point, right? So yeah, just put this lampshade on your head. Everything will be fine. Trust me. But yeah, shot looks cool though, and that's all we care about. That is all we care about on Uber. So. Good for you. Here we go. We got some BTS here. He's using the Pavo tubes here, so we can see, similar to what I was using, but these ones are the real deal, right? They got all the features. You got a bit of space there, but normally you're in a very tiny space. You got some extra room there. But yeah, beautiful image. Love what you're doing in terms of the colouring and that sort of thing. I think it's worked out really well. I guess there's a story here. Is that right? There's a story here. Oh, these the camera settings. We've got 85mm f1.4, ISO 400. Okay, so this is where, yeah. Oh, this is the previous image, right? That's a different image. Yeah. I was going to say like 16. That's like 1600th of a second, 1600th of a second. That's nuts. Yeah. Anyway, until I saw the video, I honestly thought she was a mannequin. Oh, what, in this? Yeah. I mean, who in their right mind would who would put that on their head, right? But yeah, again, a lot like what you're doing in terms of having this light from above. I think you've done well to manage the exposures here as well. It's just just on the borderline of clipping there, and on this side we've got the you know, the greeny blues coming in on this side, as well as a nice little bit of fill color underneath, matching the top light as well. So yeah, really cool. So what was the shutter speed on that then? Because that's for a previous shoot. Yeah. Right, what else we got going on here? Let's have a look. Let's start at the top here. Okay, so we've got Mike's image here. Currently trying to recreate retro vibes with my photography. For this shoot, we found a cool 1960s themed studio and decided to go for a 1960s Japanese Showa era theme for the shoot. The backdrop light was an Aperture LS60 with the spotlight mini zoom to add window gobo. So this here is a nice gobo. Main lights were a Rotalight EOS 2 with an Aperture LS300X in a light dome mini softbox. Editing had some basic touch-ups with the boost, the saturation, and playing with exposure contrast vignette and a few other sliders to get more retro feel. Okay. So let's have a look then. So this is really interesting. So he's managed to, Mike's managed to really dial in that gobo really nicely. What I mean by that is he's, you know, he hasn't got the gobo going across the subject's face like it clearly looks like that's supposed to be back there, and he kind of bedded it into the scene rather than it feeling like, oh, somebody's added a gobo, right? And that's kind of one of the biggest issues I have with some of the gobos that I've seen, is they just look slapped on, and it's obvious that you're using the gobo. So it's nice to see this actually feeling like bedded into the shot. Okay, which is cool. And again, like you said, he's going for this retro vibe. Yeah. Hey Brett, how you doing, man? So Nuba said there is a small LED strapped to the top of the lampshade. Okay, I was going to ask about that, Nuba, because I couldn't see that light, how that light was coming down on top of her in the BTS, but that makes sense. Yeah. Hey Chris, how you doing? I recently got a 4-pack of Godox TL60s that I want to try. Got them in order to replace my Youngyo YN360. Man, that's a lot of numbers. What are the Godox TL60s? Just real quick, guys. I'm just going to see what that is. Do these guys sell them? Oh, so you got you got the fancy ones. Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah. Because I said to them, I said, oh, you know, wouldn't mind trying these out. It's like, do you know what, Jake? You just play with the cheap ones for now. I made it work. But yeah, but these are really cool. So these are going to have far better quality of light, especially with like the white light. And these are going to be the real deal. Okay, nice. So what length are these? Does the 60 refer to the centimeter length or what? So Chris says they also make 120. So the 120 is the length that I've got. Yeah. How you doing, Charlotte? Yeah, how you doing? Are we talking about awesome lighting tubes? Yeah, apparently we are. We are talking about a bunch of lighting tubes. Yeah. So Chris has just been playing with these, and I am guessing the 60 refers to the length, but I can't see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm sure it does, right? How long are they, Chris? How long are they? Yeah, are you saying? So that's a twin pack, 400. I mean, they are pricey. I mean, you're getting up there with the Pavo tubes now, right? In terms of how much they cost. So on its own, it's 180 quid for this one. Interesting. Yeah. The spec sheet says 75 by 4.8. Yeah, okay. Yeah, no offense to anybody, but why would they not write how long these are and it just be really obvious? I mean, forgive me for being dumb, but yeah, you're right. Here we go. Yeah, so 48 mil across diameter, and then 75 centimeters long. Okay. So I guess we never know what the 60 stands for then. Cool. 60 must stand for something important, right? So this, see, this is so this is this thing here, right? This number here, the CRI. So the closer to 100, the better the quality of a light's going to be. So just real quick, I'm kind of curious as to what figure these came out at. So these ones, specifications. Where's the specs? Specifications. So there you go. Yeah. So lower just in terms of so 85 as opposed to like the other ones, which were what, 96, something like that. So the higher that CRI number, I forget what that means or what that stands for. But yeah, the higher that is, the better the quality of the light is going to be. So what's the CRI? What Pavo tubes? These have got to have. These have got to have the CRI 97. Okay, there you go. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So Nuba, if you're a disciple of the Pavo tubes here, what is the TLCI compared to the CRI? These are very, very high, so incredibly high quality white light from these, and that's what you're paying for, right? Like you're paying for that quality of light in terms of nailed in, color consistency, right? Just got 2 newer light sticks. Oh, you got them. Oh, nice. Yeah, £100 each, but very decent color and brightness. Nice, Charlotte. Okay. Have you got a link, Charlotte? I'd be interested. Yeah, pop a link in the chat of the ones you bought. I'd be interested to see which ones you picked up. Yeah. Did you see my article last week, Charlotte? Was that what kind of made you think, oh, do you know what, that'd be kind of cool to play with? Nice shot, nice. Yeah, probably. I mean, it'd be interesting to see which ones you got. Yeah. I'd take Neo 3 Pro in a strip box over the tube at that price. The LED tubes are expensive, man. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. Maybe 60 centimeter of the light. I wonder, Florian. Yeah, do you know what? It could be, right? Because you're right. There is that. Yeah, you could be right, actually, Florian. Yeah, because there is that section at the bottom there, which has got the control panel on it. Yeah. Speaking about the tube lights, both Godox and Aperture have also introduced some pixel lights. Really? So, the Godox ones we were looking at a minute ago. Well, that's the Pixel Pro ones. These are the Godox ones, yeah, which I've seen, and they look great, by the way. But yeah, I bought them after the workshop, and because lots of other togs used them at cons as they're easier to carry, very light, so really pleased with them, and 2 cons have done so far. Nice. Oh, you're talking about the Comic Cons and stuff like that, right? Nice. Yeah. Using them in their lightsabers, yeah. Thank you, Charlotte. Nice. Okay, yeah, so let's have a look at specs on these. So, I mean, look, very high CRI rating here, yeah, for the price, which is good. Okay. Yeah, nice, okay. Yeah, they'll be great. And what length are these? 1/16 pack. Jesus Christ, why does nobody give you the length of these damn things? Measuring in inches, great. Okay, so these are about just over 55, so about 60 centimeters. Okay, so yeah, okay, so like you say, manageable in terms of carrying to Comic Cons and that sort of stuff. That actually, because mine are great. I love the 120 centimeter ones. They are amazing for the sort of setups that I want to do. But yeah, not very practical for actually carrying around. I mean, it's not so bad. I can just pop them in a light stand bag, but not if you're wanting to do actual shoots on the go for sure. Yeah. Thank you, Chris. That saved me searching for that. I appreciate that, mate. Yeah, let's have a look at this one. Nice. Just a $5,000 setup. Nice. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, I guess some of the benefits of some of these tubes is, I mean, they show this. Like, do you know how much that would cost? Yeah, just buy 20 of these tubes at 300 quid a pop or something. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting that you can do stuff like this. I mean, Dave was talking about earlier on about the pixel sticks programming. So you can program them to do these sort of pulses and that sort of stuff. So they've got a bit more flexibility if that's the sort of thing you want. You just need this dude to have his flight case of processing power to control 20 tubes, 30 tubes. But other than that, yeah. I'll have a look at that later on. Thank you. Yeah. I know, Dave, right? Yeah, it's actually useful having that trellis in your spare room above. I like being able to raise it up and down. It just gives you the extra flexibility that just really takes your shoots to the next level. Getting the family sedan up the stairs can be an issue though, but these are all problems we can work around. These are the aperture ones. Chris has done his research. Look, Chris is bringing in. Here's another setup that costs $5,000. Yeah. Just your average TikTok video. $5,000 of lighting in the background. Nice. What are these for? Like, they just produce no light. I don't know what is that. I mean, I guess you'd use that on set to, I don't know, what you'd have it, just on your keyboard, I suppose. Like if you were filming somebody looking at a screen or something. Yeah. I suppose you could have them lighting that. I get that. Yeah. I don't know how much they are, Charlotte, but I guarantee you they're expensive. Yeah. Okay. Right. God, it's not like us to get distracted. Right, let's have a look at this image a second in Photoshop. Right. So just on this, I was just kind of curious about the angle at which this is being shot at. I wondered if we could have come down a little bit lower and kind of looked up a little bit, because at the moment almost looks like a dollhouse, the way that we're sort of like looking down on her a little bit. I just think get us a little bit lower at kind of eye level rather than looking down like this could help. One thing we could try, I saw that lens correction there. I'm just going to use this a second, just because. So here, for example, we can try and straighten this out just a touch. I'm just going to see, and really I'm just looking at this line here on this side. So when I'm doing this, we can see that line there. I just wanted to see if I could straighten that out a little bit. But yeah, I think. I mean, we would need to kind of fill that in a little bit there, but you kind of get get where I'm coming from, right? And just, I mean, I very, very roughly. So you kind of see what I mean, right? About just trying to, I mean, that definitely needs a little bit of work there for sure. But I think for the, hopefully you kind of get where I'm coming at. Just coming down a little bit and looking up will help to just kind of correct some of that perspective a little bit. And just in terms of the coloring, you mentioned you're going for like this retro vibe, which I totally get. I think it's something that we could definitely play with here a little bit. Yeah, something like that, just to take the edge off, and then just maybe just tweaking some of these tones just a touch, just to make it in keeping with the sort of the retro style that you were after. And again, one thing that I think we're seeing a lot of, and we've spoken about this before in the streams, but about the sort of yellowy greeny highlights that we see on the skin is something that is fairly popular at the moment, and that comes from, I think, a nostalgia from film, because you can't really blow out film the way that you can blow out digital in the highlights. When you blow out film, it's still this sort of milky yellow in the bright highlights. If you watch any movies that have been shot on film, you'll see that even in the highlights it's actually this sort of like milky yellow color, and that's because film doesn't blow out the same way that digital does. So one way that we can kind of replicate that same look and feel in our digital images is to kind of just add just a tiny kick of green here in the highlights, which is what I'm doing there, and same with like the blues maybe. So the opposite of blue is going to be yellow. So we can just knock down just a tiny bit of yellow in the highlights. Okay, so just a very subtle grade there, but I think something that can help to kind of lock it together. One thing I just want to just real quick play with here as well is, let's see if we can just select our subject here. That's interesting, it selected her back there as well. So I'm just seeing, yeah, it's grabbed it for the most part. I'm just going to clean this selection up real quick. Okay. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to add a little bit of extra depth to this image, right? So at the moment I've just got the background selected, right? So I kind of just want this background to just be knocked back a bit more, lose some of its just looking at that, I don't want it to be too obvious, but just to take it back a little bit. Yeah. Okay, now what we could do is actually go even further, like that, and then put this in a group. And then I kind of want it to be a little bit more convincing. So what I mean by that is, yeah, maybe have it darker towards the bottom of the frame, right? So I did this with two masks. So I've masked her out, and then I've masked out the actual group itself. So now we can just darken down that bottom half. Now if we wanted, we could do the top half kind of separately, just a tiny bit. I know that's doing everything, but still I think that works. Now at the moment these legs look a little bit fake, so we want to darken those down a little bit as well, so we can do the same thing here. This time we've got the background selected, so we want the opposite. We want her selected, right? And then what we can do is, again, I'm just going to darken down the legs a little bit. That's doing all of her, so we're going to put that in a group. And then same thing again, we're just going to add a grad here, right? So now, like, her legs are kind of bedded in a little bit, and we can reduce the opacity of that if we want, just a touch. Okay. And I think for the most part we're kind of there. I might just try and tie it all together a little bit with a final grade here, just to bring, I don't want to go too far. Let's have a look. What did we do before? We did green, and we did blue underneath. So you'll notice I'm doing these in separate layers. It's just easier to turn them off and on afterwards to see what's being affected and what isn't. And again, I'm just trying to keep that kind of retro vibe to it. Okay. I still think this thing is still bright overall, so I would still probably knock it back. Yeah, just because that light on her looked a little bit aggressive on top there, so I would still probably knock the whole thing back. If you're looking for inspiration on this sort of style, then like Christopher Doyle did, he's the cinematographer in The Mood for Love, 2046. Like the style of this retro sort of Asian cinema, absolutely incredible color grading and lighting. So yeah, check out his movies. Yeah, absolutely beautiful lighting and grading and that sort of thing. Something that I haven't really spoken too much about myself. I mean, this is just part of the cinematic studio lighting workshop that I do, talking about cinematographers, but yeah, absolutely beautiful. If you're interested in that sort of coloring, like the yellow and greens and that sort of thing, and the deep reds, very difficult to do, but he does it really well. Yeah, as you can see, the same sort of vibe here as well. So that's probably a bit too far. Let's see, kind of want some of that contrast back, don't we? Maybe it was okay without it. Coming back to it with fresh eyes. Yeah. Okay. So this is where we were, and just kind of bringing it back to that kind of vibe, right? With it, like the greens and yellows and the highlights contrasted nicely with these reds. Yeah, which is exactly what I was kind of talking about here, right? With the greens and reds, right? So yeah, something to think about for sure. Cool shot. Just playing with it. Miss anything here? Let's have a look. I'm making jigs. Chris says, I guess you can make the light smaller or bigger by turning on and off sections of the tubes, or have two different colors on one tube. Oh, absolutely, Chris. Yeah, absolutely. They are. I mean, yeah, if you've got the budget and the scale and that sort of stuff, having all those tubes is crazy, absolutely nuts. Yeah, you can do some really clever lighting with them in terms of reflected light on the subjects and that sort of stuff. You can get some beautiful effects for sure. So it says, hey, it's over the entry again. I have a model shoot I've been prepping, will start shortly. Hey, no worries, Stilling. Yeah, I'll give it a look in a minute. Charlotte's image here, new. Oh God, Hoska. I'm super ignorant, Charlotte. I do apologize. So this is what a character from something. Hoska. shot from Comic-Con at the weekend. I apologize. Had one-off camera softbox, long, thin, upright, facing across her, so it was feathered Westcott strobe when it was cloudy midday. So Charlotte, this was and she's saying that she added the saber effects afterwards. So Charlotte, you're saying that you want to be kind of replacing some of the lighting that you're doing with the tubes that you've just bought, right? Because in theory, you could, as long as you were in a dark enough room, you could do this with the tubes that you've bought potentially. I mean, worst comes to the worst, you could at least get her to hold the tubes, and you could get some cool, more realistic lighting effects. You could get some really nice glows with like a lens filter. So if you were to get them to hold the tubes, for example, you could get them. You get some really nice glows with some decent lens filters, like a Cine Bloom, like a Black Pro Mist, like even cheaper versions like the Cine FX filters. I've got some. They create this glow with single points of light as well, so it could be cool. Star Wars character, actually don't know. So you don't know either, Charlotte. Shame on you. Unbelievable. I can't believe you don't know. Character from Mandalorian. Okay, so between us, we're getting there. Like, as a collective, we're actually working out what this character is. Charlotte says, so this shot is easily possible without the softbox, but the con allowed for it. Most cons don't allow for larger softboxes, so getting a friend to hold the tube helps. Gotcha. We did a few with a tube on the back of the headpiece to allow me to add the lightsabers there as well. Nice. Okay, clever. That makes sense. Okay, yeah, interesting. So what you're saying is that for a lot of these occasions, you're not allowed to have something on a light stand, right? That's the same with a lot of these places. Don't allow tripods for the same reason. You can have a big camera, but as long as it's not on a fixed light stand, tripod, you're usually okay. So yeah, that is a good point though. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I think it's a really cool shot, especially when you're in difficult locations where you're sort of like on the fly, right? Where you're trying to make something work, especially with somebody who may not be a professional model. You've got other people around. They're trying not to be anxious. Like, what do? You follow me to this dark corner so that we can do some shots. It's got to be awkward. Yeah, it's got to be awkward. So absolute, much respect for doing this at Comic-Cons like this, where you're working on the fly with so much chaos going on around you. Yeah, so that's what Charlotte's saying here. Yeah, so no light stands. Yeah, that's usually the case. Yeah. So Dave says Ahoska Tano was a Force-sensitive, for Christ, Togruta female, former Jedi Padawan who, after the Clone Wars, helped establish a network of various rebel cells. Well, I think my nerd ranking just escalated 10 points. Thank you for that, Dave. Appreciate it, mate. Dave just knew that by heart as well. He didn't Google that. He just knows that. So Tracy's shot here. Finally had a model show after 2 weeks of no shows. That is rough. I got loads of images, no gels. However, even tried a little composite image, but it's not good enough to post here. So I'll post this one, Nikon D7500, Sigma Art 35mm, and finally got to use my massive 120 centimeter modifier. Really going to need to buy a sturdier stand for that one. Okay, so we got like the whole no shows, don't take it to heart, guys. It happens to all of us. Happens to me. It doesn't matter if you're paying for a shoot or not. I've had models not turn up to workshops or paid gigs. You're dealing with young people, right? And no offense if you are a young person, but I was young once. I get it. If you're dealing with young people, they're not always strictly reliable all the time. The point I'm getting at here is, don't take it personally. I've had a couple of messages recently, actually, people saying, "Oh, how'd you deal with no shows and that sort of thing? Can you get them?" It's just one of those things. It's just the nature of the job. You're dealing with young people. That's just, don't take it personally. Just keep booking them in. And eventually, like Tracy here, they will turn up and good to go. Tracy playing with composite images and that sort of stuff. She's not overly happy with it, but what I was saying here as well is what I followed up with was like, just glad to hear you're trying new ideas. Look, not everything's gonna pan out 100% of the time, right? But as long as you're trying new ideas, playing around with them, and you know you are guaranteed to learn something from it. So yeah, just keep plugging away at it. And yeah, 120 centimeter, you know, that's a big old softbox. C stands is obviously going to be the best place, as in like the best way to hold some of these ones. But even if you just got a regular stand and you just got some sandbags, you can actually buy like water bags, which are these like circular bags which I've used on shoots. Rather than lugging sand around, you buy these sort of like hoops things, and they just velcro around, and you just fill them up with water, right? Which most sets have water, so you can, and that weighs the light stand down. So I do have some of those, like these water bags. They just pack up real small as well, so you can just have them in your lighting kit. And if you need to use a sandbag on set, I've just used these and fill them up with water, so you can do that. Pretty cool. So fandom for the win. Is that what you use? Jesus Christ. Charles says, hilariously, I'm shooting 4 days of Star Wars Celebration this weekend, so God help me knowing all the random space characters. Space characters! You can't call them space characters, Charlotte. My God, you get struck down. But good for coloured light tube practice. Yeah, I mean, that is the benefit of like the sci-fi, right? They love a decent coloured light, and yeah, playing around with coloured tubes and that sort of stuff is going to be yeah, it's going to be great for that. That's going to be awesome. Yeah. You're still young, Dave. Wow, good for you, mate. Good for you. Young, like 40 young, or like, so Charlotte says the water bags go over 3-prong bit and weigh it down from there. Do I have any here? Oh, it's been a long time since I've used these, but normally I can't find anything at home. For some reason, when I'm on these live streams, I manage to find everything for you guys instantly. I don't know how. I apologise for the Velcro. So yeah, so these ones, yeah, this is just inspired photo gear, and yeah, so they're just, so this goes around the light stand. Yeah, and it sits like that, and then you just fill it up with, and you just put the water in there, and you just fill it up. So it's like a sandbag, but so they fold up to next to nothing, right? You know, so you can just have some of these in your bag. I haven't used them in ages though. Oh, you are young, 25. Wow, little baba, mate, little baba. No wonder you know all the sci-fi stuff. Do they provide enough weight generally to hold most? Like, I think it depends. Like that's going to do something. I would say, yeah, you know, you can get bigger ones. I would probably get the bigger ones. How many liters is that? I've got no idea, Dave. Not many, maybe 1 liter. So it's like what, 1 kilo. So I would say get bigger ones if you can. But yeah, or just get multiples, right? And then just put them around. So yeah. You are, Charlotte. Yeah, you are the baby of the group. So let's have a look. Can I see the demographic here? What's the insights? Let's have a look. Oh, there you go. Yeah. So there you go. That's you in there. Look at that. Who is that? One young lady. There you go. Yeah. So you're in there. You are. That's you. Yeah. The youngest. It's obviously somebody came in and was like, "What are these nerds talking about?" and dipped. But yeah. Right. Let's have a look at Tracy's shot here a second. So even just real quick on this, just even on a shot like this that seems fairly monochromatic, I think we can still do something in terms of just having a little bit of a grade on there. what I'm doing here is I'm just raising the black point because you can't color grade pure black. Yeah, so I'm just kind of cheating a little bit by raising the black point just a tiny bit into very dark gray, which then enables you to be able to color grade it. And even with something like this, you can still grade something like this. Yeah, so you can go, let's have a look. Let's maybe go in the blues, because that's going to give us some stuff in the shadows there. So that's kind of nice. I quite like that. It's kind of cleaned up the background in terms of just giving it a little bit of a tone, which is kind of nice. So we got the blue. Let's maybe come in with the green. Just to bring a little bit more warmth back. I don't know, I've kind of preferred it without that. Let's have a look. That's just neutralized it. Maybe you just go with the basic blue grade down here. Yeah, keep it simple. So all I've done is that just kind of adds a little bit of blue to the background here, and then neutralizes some of that skin tone. That's all, just to clean up some of that skin tone. But yeah. So even on even on a seemingly monochromatic image like that, you can still you can still just give it a little bit of a grade. You're 52, right? So you are. Yeah, you are. I was going to say, Dave, you are in the wrong stream. You're like, there's not many 25-year-olds in here. I was going to say this is way too nerdy for these young people. Yeah. I know, Charlotte, there was actually somebody who was younger in there, a young lady that was in the stream, younger than you are. So Rusty's got an image to model in the studio, trying to tie in some brand recognition. Canon EOS R with an EF 85 1.8. Okay, nice. Okay. So this is a similar thing to Tracy's image a second ago, right? We're talking about grading something that was neutral or almost monochromatic. We can kind of do the same thing here with this image from Rusty. Let's have a look. Just one thing, there's a couple of things I just want to look at here. Is maybe just to ease off on the brightness of the face here. So let's have a look. What's the best way to do that? So if we just create a curve layer and then come up to image, apply image, let's multiply. Yeah, that's cool. So at the moment, what that's doing is it's creating a mask, a black and white mask based on luminance. So this, as we know from masks, like the white parts of the mask is going to be the bits that are affected. So at the moment, we have the brightest parts are going to be affected, which is fine. I just kind of want to hone in even more on that. So what we can do, if you click on the mask here and then you come to properties, so if that's not for you, you can come into window properties, okay, and then in here this shows you like the density of the mask. You can see that, if you can see that changing there. You can feather the mask. Yeah, which is kind of cool. We can also come in here and then adjust the color range of the mask. So here we can target, for example, highlights within the mask. So fuzziness. That is actually doing a really good job. So here we can see we like this is the current mask and this is the new mask that we're going to apply to it. Right, so, or did it? Did that not do it? No, it didn't do it. Interesting. Can we image? Can I create that selection? Oh, there you go. Okay, fine. Don't know why I didn't do it originally. Anyway. So yeah, so this is the new color range. So now we've really honed in on that. So now we can kind of darken that specifically right? So we can see we're really targeting that face. And you don't want to go to too much. We've got to be careful. I don't think we can. We are dealing with a JPEG, so we can't go too far with it. But yeah, I think yeah. Now what we can do again is we can pop that in a group and mask out things like the hair, right? So because we're now using a mask within a mask, so we can mask out the hair and stuff here. So we really just only want it to be affecting those super bright areas. So like maybe we keep the underwear done as well. Okay. Now we've got to be careful with this because now we have a little bit of skin discoloration especially when we darken something down like that. So what we can do is we can create a new layer, make sure it's above all of that, change this layer to color. And then we want to find like a neutral tone here. So usually the chest is a good one. And we kind of just want to paint that one neutral tone everywhere. So it's kind of terrible at the moment. So we want to make sure we're masking this out. So we can double click on this layer. It's going to bring up the blend if. So what we want to do is we want this color layer to bed on top of everything else. So we want the shadows and the highlights to show through from underneath, right? Because otherwise it just looks kind of weird with the blacks being painted. So we can just hold down the Option key and separate that. So what am I looking at? So here where that paint has just filled in this shadow, we kind of don't want that. So if we just bring this to the right, see how that shadow comes back? So now we want to hold down the Option key just to feather that out. Okay, we can do the same with we don't want the eyes painted, right? So we can come in, bring this across, we can start to see that that's coming in, and then we just separate that. Okay, now for the most part I then do actually go in and just remove like anything in the eyes as well, just in case. I use the eyes as a gauge, but I still remove the eyes and the lips and the teeth and that sort of thing. Okay, and I went over some hair, so I am just going to mask that out. So I'm just painting on a mask on that layer. I'm just going to turn that off and on. So that's just going to help to get that skin color, skin tone consistent throughout. So lastly, what I am going to do is I'm actually going to just give some shape back to her face there, because that is very bright on there. So I've just made a curves layer, darken that down, and now I'm just with white paint, I'm just going to do some very basic dodge and burn here. Yeah, so I'm just going to try and add some shape back with white paint there, just to kind of give a little bit more sculpting on the face. So all I'm doing is painting onto this curves layer here, which is, all that's doing is darkening it down, yeah, just to try and just bring a little bit more shape back to her face there. Okay, lastly, in something like this, what I might do is just make sure we've got a grey background here, but I mean, I'm just gonna, maybe it is completely grey. I just want to check. So when we just push the saturation up, we can see that it's not pure grey at the moment. There is a lot of sort of colour in there. So what I'm actually going to do is just mask out that background just to neutralise it. So let's just select her a second. Let's come in there and just mask that out. Just check that I think the hair is pretty good. I actually don't like that, so I'm actually just going to leave it. I think that'll be fine. So at the moment we've got her selected. We want the inverse of that. Okay, so now, so that's just neutralized any color in that background. Okay, just by reducing it. So that helps to bring her forward. Everything is very, very clean behind. And then now we can kind of color grade this now, right? So we can come in here, let's have a look. Thinking about color grading this. Let's start off with maybe the reds first. So punch up that skin tone. Yeah, we can always come back. Let's move on to the green. So we want to be careful here. So what this color grade is doing is kind of locking these blues together and then punching her skin tone forward. So I'm just going to come back to the red here. Let's just double check. Everything's looking punchy in there. They may be thinking, well, that's going to be color in the background as well, even though you've just desaturated it. It will, but it will be consistent now. We don't have, we've got rid of all the color, and now we're color toning everything as one. Okay, so this is where we were, and just coming in, just taking out, just trying to reduce the brightness in the face there, and also just trying to tighten up some of these colors as well. Yeah. You can see the skin was looking just a little bit yellowy greeny in there. We just tightened that up and also brought back some tonality in some of this very bright highlights there. Okay, and just gave her face a little bit more shape. Okay. So, you know, even if it looks monochrome or something like that, then you can still punch into the colors that are there, especially something like that where you got denim and skin is a really good one, because it's like, it's that classic teal and orange, right? So you can really punch into it, pump up the blues, and then pump up the sort of the bronzed on the skin as well. Dave says, what's your average editing time on a commercial shoot per image take? Anything from 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I suppose. So I don't know whether some of you may think, Jesus, that's a long time. Some of you may think, that's not much time at all. But yeah, usually around 30 minutes to 45 minutes. I mean, that can get that can get quicker if you're doing a series of images, right? So let's say I've got 5 images from a shoot. I've done one. I mean, I can then grab the color grade, maybe even a mask here and there, and I can transfer that across all 5 images, right? So once I've done the grade on one image from that set, I can transfer it across, so that sort of speeds it up. But yeah, so sort of that sort of time. What was the wrong button? Sorry, Brett. Did I press the wrong button somewhere? Right, let's move on. We've got Simon Shot here. Hopefully feeling better. Yeah, thank you, Simon. Yeah, I'm sure we're better soon. Not much of a shoot, but I did take the Helios. Those of you who don't know, Helios is a lens, like an old school Russian lens or something like that, like on film cameras. I've got a couple here actually, really cool. They have this very distinctive way of rendering bokeh. It's rather nice. Statue outside St. Paul's Cathedral makes for a pretty good model. Nothing really crazy in editing, but I did try out some of the new Lightroom presets since there's plenty of light wavelengths to play with. Futuristic 10 actually brings out the subject quite nicely here by widening the differences in the saturation between the two planes. So I just mentioned here about the cool bokeh of the Helios, and I said about the presets. I didn't realize that Lightroom actually had new presets within it, and I think that's what Simon's referring to, that actually Futuristic 10 is actually in the actual new Lightroom release as well. So he's just playing with some of those, and he's talking about plenty of light wavelengths. Daylight images are great to color grade because you have tons of data in the shadows and in the highlights for the most part. So natural light images are very, very cool in terms of color grading and what you can do with the colors of them. So yeah, I think that's what Simon's talking about here. Yeah, so again, just playing with some of the new features of Lightroom. Much respect. We got Jakob's here. So oh nice, okay, so he's got a BTS as well. So he's using the nanolite tubes, 150 watt RGB. Got some more tubes here as well. Very cool. Okay. So he's using, oh, he's got the old trellis system, the rails. I remember these. We used to have them in the studio. Yeah. I wasn't there that day, but I did hear a story of this coming down. I think it came down overnight, not when there was a client in the room. But Christ, can you imagine the lawsuit? This thing came down. Jesus Christ! I mean, it's terrifying. Like, nobody used it after that. I think it was banned. Yeah, I think it was like, right, you just can use a light stand. Anyway, off topic. So yeah, he's using the tubes here to set this up. So thank you for sharing the BTS on that. So let's bring this in as well. Let's have a quick play with this one. So again, we got tons to work with here in terms of the color. One thing I just want to look at first off is maybe just tune some of this background a little bit, just to clean up the background. So let's grab the subject here. Done a pretty good job. I don't need to be too precious about this, but just hit the Q button there just to see what's going on. Okay, so we're going to fine tune this. So select a mask and hold down the Shift key. That brings up the legacy selector mask, which is a little bit better in my opinion. He says, as it just completely ruins that. And I'm just painting over these edges here. I'm just going to see if it can. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, don't need to be too worried about the accuracy, but I am going to be looking to replace this background a little bit. So we've got her at the moment. We want the opposite of that. So we want to create a background to replace this. Well, that's what I want to do. I just want to clean up. We got these heavy shadows here. We've got some highlights here. It just feel like we could tighten this up a little bit. So if we come down here, you maybe the paint bucket, hit the G. If we hold down the mouse on this and come over to the gradient tool, it brings up the gradient, right? So we want to come in and actually make our own gradient. So now we can come and click here. Let's grab like this color here. Let's have another spot here. Click there. Let's come in there. So I'm going to throw this gradient up in a minute, but I need to be picking colors that are actually in the shot. Okay, let's hit OK on that. And it's not too bad. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, and now we want to obviously bed this in. So I need to just add some noise to this because at the moment that's just pure paint, right? It doesn't have any noise like the original image does. So we just want to add some noise to that, and then we want to soften that noise. Let's just get a little bit of a blur on that, and now we want to bring the opacity way down on this. So we've still got the shadows, right? So we've still got the shadows in there. Okay, but we've cleaned up some of this darker area. Now, I actually want to remove this flare here as well. So I'm just going to duplicate that. And then let's put it up to full. Let's put this in a group and then mask it out. So now what I'm going to do is, let's see. Okay, so yeah, so I've just duplicate that and then just use that corner. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we've cleaned up the background. Let's start looking at a grade on this. So we want to make sure we're not doing that in there. So something like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's start looking at color grading this working with the colors that we've got here, right? So if we go in the reds, we know we've got this orange tone here, so we kind of want to be looking at pumping the reds in the highlights a little bit. Okay, and we've got a lot of cyan in the shadows, so like, because this is shadow area here, so if I start bringing up the reds in the shadows, it's going to counteract the lighting that's there. So we want to just knock this down in the shadows and bring this up in the highlights to work with the lighting that's already there. Yeah, so we can see just punching that up. So I'm going to do it in a separate layer, but let's do the green now. So similar sort of thing, right? So we want to pump up these greens, just give it a little bit of contrast. The opposite of green is going to be magenta, so it's really going to be working with these purples. Yeah, so it's giving that nice contrast back. Let's have another one. The final one is going to be the blue. Careful with the blue. So the opposite of blue is yellow, so bringing this down is going to add some warmth. And then just popping that back up. Nice, okay. So just tightened up some of those colors. Now what you can do, this is what I tend to do as well, is I tend to come in, and if you haven't used this before, the channel mixer is just going to give it like that final grade to tighten up any of these colors as well. That's nice. So that's the blue, let's come in here. We don't need to use all three of these, but sometimes, again, I'm doing them on separate layers. It's just easier afterwards to turn them off and on to see what you like and don't like. And again, this is going to help to tighten up these colors. When I say tighten up, like reduce the color palette so that we're really only using the core colors. So it's not just like lots of different bluey greens, really just tightening everything up. Okay, we're not going to do anything dramatic. Most of the work has been done with, excellent lighting to begin with. We just want to be leaning into these a little bit with this final grade. And here I'm kind of looking at this red, and I'm looking at the balance of like how much do I want to bring that red forward in, like visually, how much do I want to bring that sort of orangey color forward. So I'm just want to be careful with that. I don't want to make it too strong so that it starts to dominate, but I think that helps to make it pop. Okay, let's look at where we were, right? And this is just tightening everything up just a tiny bit in terms of the tonality and the final grade, but like really nicely lit. Color choice is excellent to begin with as well. It's just about tightening everything up at the end there. Okay. Right, let's crack on. We've got Florian's shot here. Studio shooting with 3 flashes and color gels from the front. I used a beauty dish with blue color gel. The flashes from the right and left have the standard reflectors and barn doors. Red color gels, the light effects added in post. Okay, Florian, you still here in chat? So studio shooting with 3 flashes and color gels. From the front, I used a beauty dish with blue color gel. So that's as in front. And then the flashes from the right and left have the standard reflectors of barn doors, red gels. Okay, so he's saying, oh, nice, Florian. This is a great shot, Florian, by the way. Yeah, really cool. And the, so the red, so you're just using, okay. So, I mean, granted, this is a fairly low resolution image that you've posted here, and that's fine if you didn't want to share a higher resolution one, but it's a little bit tricky to see what's going on. One thing you could try, Florian, is rather than the bare dishes, is try something like silver umbrellas. That'll help you just spread out this color over a larger area on the body without it sort of clipping in some of the highlights. So it might be something to try. But otherwise, love the idea of separating the lights out like that. You've got the blue in the front, which is actually using a blue beauty dish is a really nice idea because you can get some really nice tonality on the body. And then obviously blue and reds go well together. And I kind of like the fact we've got this sort of purpley midnight blue color mixing in the background as well. And then I presume your concept from the start was to have this sort of red red lines here be echoing the colors that are on her. So when the viewer is looking at the image, it actually looks like these red lines are lighting the outside of her here, almost like this sort of red doorway type thing, which I think is a really, really nice idea. I think it's really well executed. Just thinking about how we can kind of reduce some of this, I think, color clipping that may be happening again, because like you said, Instagram resolution. Yeah, I think there may be some color clipping going on here, and maybe helping to spread out some of that light with some umbrellas may kind of help that. Yeah. Fantastic edit. Oh, is this were you talking about Florian's shot, or were you talking about the image that I just edited a second ago, Lucas? That was your intention, yeah. I think, I think if that was your intention in your mind's eye going into this, I think you absolutely nailed it. Because when we see this, we definitely instantly get the idea that this red tubes, if you like. I know it's not. I know you added it in post, but it's like that's definitely the vibe that it gets. So I would say you definitely achieved it. Yeah, really cool, really cool. We already looked at a Anubis shot here, and then we got Dave. Look, we saved the best till last, mate. Saved the best till last. So Dave says cosplay shoot that got me using the Rotolight Magic Eye app. Used the app to select the colors from the background image to light her up in the studio, knowing it would be compositing afterwards. Worked pretty well first try. Also managed to get one of the shots noticed by James Gunn, director of the Guardians of the Galaxy, so calling that results. That is impressive, mate. Yeah, that is impressive. How did you so where did you post it? What did you tag? Yeah. Main light was the EOS 2, the backlight was Neo 3 Pro, both coloured from the background image via the app. Nice. Okay, so what's going on here? So what Dave's referring to is there's the Rotolight app has this Magic Eye feature which enables you to point the phone, your camera phone, at a colour or select it from an image, and then that will take that colour that you've selected and apply it to your light. So really, really clever, super simple to do, but that's what he's doing. Yeah, no worries, Florian, yeah. So Terry says, with colour clipping or white points in general, do you work towards getting near or just based on a feeling? I'll be honest, Terry, it is based on a feeling, but to your point, yeah, I never want to, especially with colour, I would say you always want to be underexposed a little bit. You can always bring them up a little bit, but with digital, you've got to be very, very careful with colour clipping. So I always tend to sort of underexpose and then bring it up a little bit as well. You can kind of, cheat that a little bit by changing the brightness of the screen on your camera and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm certainly doing it by eye. I'm not doing it by, dialing it in with a color meter or anything like that. But yes, I'm always trying to underexpose that color, especially the reds. I know Florian showed an image there with red and blue. Like reds and blues are very, very difficult colors to work with because of how easy it is for those colors to clip in terms of lose data. And for shots, like I've used pure red on the model's face before, and I purposefully underexposed by 2 stops to avoid that from happening. That seems kind of like, you would never do that, but to make sure that I had all the data in that red, I was underexposing by 2 stops, especially on skin, which has reflective tendencies as well. So yeah, you just got to be very, very careful with those sorts of colors. So yeah, the Magic Eye app, very, very cool. Something that I've only played with briefly, but yeah, I need to play with a little bit more. So Dave says he actually liked the unedited image with just hair against the black background, used the black background knowing as I was compositing after. Yeah, of course, yeah, makes sense. So Danny says, love the Magic Eye, it's a game changer, one reason why you should buy Rotolight. Right, let's have a look at Dave's image here. Let's bring this into Photoshop real quick. So let's just see. I'm not going to do too much here. We're running a little bit long on time, but we can just have a little bit of a play real quick. So I'm just going to select the subject here, and this is the standard selector mask that I don't want to use in Photoshop. If you hold down the Shift key while selecting this, you should get the legacy one. Okay, and then you can apply. These are the settings that I use. These are the settings that I would recommend you use. So now we have our subject separated, right? I just want the background here a little bit. So what I'm going to kind of do is, I don't want the curves, I want the exposure. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up that a little bit. Let's do another one here with her. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here, and they do this in cinema and TV all the time with the background, what they do is they add haze and smoke and that sort of thing into the actual the room and that sort of thing, and it helps to very quickly and easily add separation between your subject and background, and it's a very quick trick, as it were, and you see it done a lot. So at the moment, for example, here we could make it a little bit more believable if, let's say, we had like a gradient like this. Where is that brown coming from? Anyway, so here, right? So here, I've kind of masked out the immediate area behind her, so that now we've just added this glow behind, but she feels a little bit more realistic in there. If I just turn that off, you see, I'm just turning off that grad in the background there, but I've still got that hazy background back there. So now we can come in and kind of play around with this, just this final color grade. Let's have a look. Kind of want to, like, I love some of these colors back here. It's these, obviously I want to be respectful to the source material, but do want to kind of lean into some of these beautiful sort of pinky cyan tones that we could try and bring out. Yeah. Okay, and just one more, do the green. Don't want to go too far. And again, never color grade with a massive light in your face like this. Yeah. But yeah, I think I would probably have to come back to that skin tone. Could just do with, but hopefully, yeah, okay. So you see, just trying to neutralize some of these reds a little bit and bring them in line with these tones and also the suit, right? So just making sure we're just tying it into more of the tone that is in the room. Yeah, so the before and after, just punching that up and just adding a little bit of separation between our subject and background, just with a final bit of a cinematic grade to the shadows and stuff there. Yeah, I'm not saying it's better than what Dave's done at all. I'm just saying just a different approach to doing it, just having a little bit of a play with it. Okay. So I think, did we say we had just going to double check, we had somebody come in late. I'll just real quick look at those before we head off. But yeah, any other last minute questions or comments about anything that we've covered today, then now's the time to do it. Oh, here we go. Sterling, that's right. Sterling added an image. Let's have a look at that. Brett added an image. Let's have a quick look at that. Okay, so just two latecomers. Black and white as well, Brett. Jesus Christ. I mean, that's great. Hey Jake, how's it going? CCV, appreciate. I was playing with color temperature and shooting down on the model. She was very strong and regal, but the look wasn't working, so it became an exercise in trying to get a softer look. So I was playing with color temperature and shooting down on the model. Okay, so this is the black and white though. So how is that referencing the color temperature? Sorry. I think if you're shooting down on the model, you got to be careful with having the head down like this as well, because it sort of elongates out the forehead a little bit. So if you're shooting down on the model, you can do that, but we can bring the head up. You don't have them look at you, but we can bring the head up, angle the chin out. So we're trying to even the plane out with you coming down on them like that. Like we can make that work, because that can help to kind of without them looking too demure. Like I don't know how to, like, submissive, right? I'm never a fan of shooting down, but you're experimenting with looking down. I respect that. You can, even using a 50mm lens from above like that can help to add some impact to the shot for sure. But yeah, if you are going to look down on them, just be careful of the head being down, just because of the forehead. Yeah. So you guys talking about he actually he's talking about the I'll be rewatching this tomorrow as compositing is still dark art to me, playing with the Pixelperfect plugin at the minute to create this. Okay, so what, Pixelperfect created a plugin for composites or plugin for color grading? Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, no worries, Brett. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, next time if you want to, add a color image and that sort of thing, so we're just at the end here, Brett. So yeah, but thank you for sharing that. So we got one more here from Sterling. He says, actual client shoot bride and groom from wedding last Saturday. LED panels behind columns. Nice. Interesting. Okay. Speed light directly behind them and assistant holding RGB one in front. Okay. Nice. Okay. Well done on the edit. Yeah, you must have been dreading this. I think you've done a really good job of masking her out. I've done a really good job of that. Yeah. I think with this, again, probably haven't got time to cover it here. I would just double check as many straight lines in this as you can geometrically. Just try and straighten it out. This isn't straight here. So okay. Yes, just with geometrics, just be real careful with that, and just to make sure that everything's super tight on that, and then just balance it out here. The reason I'm coming in a little bit tighter on the bottom here is just because it's not weighted compositionally with the top of that arch being cut. That's all. So yeah, and then I think with something we could do with the skin tones in this in terms of a grade as well. I would probably need a little bit more time to play with that, but I would, just see if you can't look at the skin tones, just to see what you can do with those. I think we may have to lean into a color. Yeah, I think, yeah, okay, so what I would probably do is lean into the blues just to get rid of some of that green that's in the skin. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would do, because at the moment the skin is kind of greeny. I would probably lean into the blue a little bit more. Yeah, maybe not as much as that, but you get my point. Yeah, okay. Cool shot though, yeah, and well done for doing it with regards to getting somebody to hold that light in there. I think a lot of people would have been put off by that, and like, oh my god, I'm not going to edit that out. But I think you've done a really good job of editing out like the person and the wand and that sort of thing. Really, really cool. And love the idea of putting the LEDs back here and then firing them into that wall behind. Really cool idea. Yeah, really cool idea. I think you pulled it off. I just think just tighten up the toning just a touch, just on the skin. I think you're good to go. Yeah, I think you're good to go. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. Good job. Yeah, always great seeing, you know, using colored light on location like this is really cool. Yeah, always a lot of fun to see. Yeah. All right, then, guys. So we'll run a little bit long here tonight, even though every time I promise I'm not going to, especially since I was feeling ill. As always, don't forget, check out my online workshops as well if you want to learn more about lighting. I know I mentioned quite a bit about the cinematic stuff that we've done as well, and also projectors I think is in here as well, so it's really cool. Check that out, as well as the mentoring, online mentoring as well, that's in there, so check those out. All right then, so look, huge thanks to anybody that is obviously here tonight, tuned in, have a chat, nerd out about the panics that is AI photography. And yeah, anybody that shared an image, thank you so much for sharing an image. It's been like caliber of images being shared is always outstanding, you know, really, really good, and it's actually pretty diverse. I mean, we won't talk about Brett's black and white shot there. You know, everybody makes mistakes, I get it. You know, sometimes it happens, but everybody else, beautiful images, really, really cool. Look, guys, thanks for hanging out. It's been great. I'm gonna go back to bed. Have a great Easter, everybody. Keep sipping the medicinal. That's it. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. Jim Beans. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Do it again in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Yeah. Go through some more images. But yeah. Thanks as always. Stay safe. Catch you next time. Take it easy, guys. Bye.